What's good, sports family? Breaking news in the NBA world. Yes, one of my favorite NBA players of all time, the favorite NBA player of all time, and as well as my favorite NBA player growing up in my generation. And also, I try and mimic his style, his both sleeves and both arms. Dwight Howard just retired from the NBA today. Let's get into it. So the reason why Dwight Howard retired is that he's 40 years old. He's old. And the fact that, he looks like he's 40. You would think he looked like maybe like late 20s, 30s, but he looks good for 40 years old. But his career is already winding down. He hasn't played in the NBA since 2022 with the LA Lakers. And he recently played overseas in Taiwan. And then he most recently, what I've heard is that he played for the Big Three. And that's it. So he has been playing ball for a while, maybe like some YouTuber type of thing, but not professionally since the Big Three, which I think has been like maybe less than a year or so, depending on if I'm right or wrong on that. But he put a social media post about this, and it's a lot. Let's get into it. Dwight Howard said this. He said, "Woke up today on the 12th of the month, and I figure it's time to move on from Superman. I'm no superhuman. I cry, I struggle, I feel like everyone else. Through the lies, the media, the hate, I still show love and smile through the storm. But now I take off my cape and retiring from all basketball to pour into my family and give back to the communities worldwide. I know some of you might think I thought he already retired, but I didn't. The game retired me. I still have more left to give. Yeah, I did play professionally for 20 years. I'm grateful to be able to say that I can't lie. Seeing these other people still going at the age of 40 inspired me to want to keep trying, but now I believe my duties will be passed down to the next generation." So thank you to all my fans and supporters throughout this journey. I love and appreciate y'all dearly, because without y'all it would be no me. And then he also says this part. "Also thank you for naysayers, the haters, the snakes, and people that came into my life to try to destroy me. Because every time y'all did, it only made me stronger. When my documentary released this year, the world will know the truth about everything. Then you will see how sheltered little boy from College Park, Georgia, who went to the same school from pre-K to 12th grade, then straight to the NBA, was taken advantage of by the world. But throughout it all, I managed to keep smiling. And since I didn't get a chance to ever have a farewell tour, I decided to create a tour not just for the fans to appreciate me, but for me to appreciate them for supporting me all these years and giving me a reason to smile, doing what I love. Every 12th of the month from now on, it will be D12 Day, where I visit cities all over the world and do acts of kindness for random people to give them a reason to smile. Let me know where y'all want to see me next. Happy retirement, Dwight." So yeah, Dwight Howard had that very, very interesting post. There's some stuff that we don't know regarding about his career going a little bit sideways here and there, it sounds like. And it sounds like he could have still been playing in the NBA. He could have definitely still been playing in the NBA. You can even see at age what? He retired. No, he didn't play in 2022. That was been 4 years. So he was 34, 35. He could have still been playing. Even now, if you see him, certain YouTube videos, he's still in good shape. It's just, it sounds like he wants to let some stuff out that a lot of us don't know, since the media tend to trash a lot of these players. Who knows? We're not going to say every player is most perfect, but something about Dwight Howard is quite interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing about the documentary about us knowing the whole truth of what he said, everything. But that's the post he said on IG. Now let's go on to his career. Dwight Howard career highlights: most dominant center of the 2000s. If you grew up, if you were born in 80s, 90s, 70s, before, I would say the 2000s, I would say from like 98 to 99, if you were born before all that, you guys should remember Dwight Howard, because he was the most dominant center during the time. It was crazy. NBA champion 2020 with the LA Lakers, 8-time NBA All-Star, 3-time defensive NBA, 3-time defense player of the year, 5-time All-NBA First Team, 5-time NBA Rebounding Leader, member of the 2008 U.S. Olympic Redeem Team, Basketball Hall of Fame induct 2025. He played for the Orlando Magic, LA Lakers, Houston Rockets, Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets, Washington Wizards, and I keep hearing the Philadelphia 76ers, but that might be wrong. I don't think he played with them. But Howard is widely considered one of the best defensive big men in his era, especially during the prime of the Magic when he led them to the NBA Finals in 2009. Now, career average over 18 NBA seasons from 2004 to 2022. He had 15.7 points per game, 11.8 rebounds per game, 1.8 blocks per game, 58.7 from the field percentage, 1.3 assists per game, 32.1 minutes per game. NBA career total 19,485, 14,627 rebounds, 2,228 blocks, 1,676 assists, 1,242 games played. Best season, prime year, 2009-2010 Orlando Magic, 18.3 points per game, 13.2 rebounds per game, 2.8 blocks per game, led the NBA in rebounds and blocks. This was during his 3 straight Defensive Player of the Year, a season from 2009 to 2011. And his playoff stats, he has 15.3 points per game, 11.9 rebounds per game, 2.0 blocks per game, and 125 playoff games. He also helped the LA Lakers win the NBA Finals. And Dwight Howard had top 5 best NBA season. His Orlando Magic stats, I can give you that, or I can give you some other stuff, but we're just going to be talking about his career. I mean, should I talk about this? Yeah, I'll talk about this. So, I was not going to mention this because, Dwight Howard just retired today, but I kind of have to line it up to, the timeline. So, as you guys know, about a few days ago, not even like less than a week, Dwight Howard's wife, going to be divorced, posted a social media page about him being addicted to some type of substance. And then she kind of like almost sniffed it, or maybe, which I don't know what that is, but all I gotta say is that I'm not going into more detail about this, but all I'm gonna say is that take that video with a grain of salt. Do not take it as like, oh my god, Dwight Howard. No. Take that with a grain of salt. We have no idea what's going on. It's none of our business. And this doesn't go towards his career. As you already know, he's already NBA champion, he's already a Hall of Famer, one of the best big men in the 2000s. I wouldn't even pay attention to that, so it's none of my business, honestly. Put that aside. But let's get back to Dwight Howard. That's the most negative topic I wanted to get rid of really fast, to let you guys know that just don't listen to social media. Everyone says lies and just trying to get clicks and all. I wouldn't really bother. But Dwight Howard had an amazing career. From starting from the Orlando Magic, from straight out of high school, having his prime year with the Magic, bringing to the NBA Finals, playoff appearances. Then I think he went to the Lakers right after, or the Rockets right after. I think it was the Lakers, right after. And then he went to Houston. And then he bounced around with like Atlanta, Charlotte. Charlotte was like later on. I think he almost went to the Nets at one point. Almost able to trade, never went through, but he didn't sign with them. But he bounced around. You know why he bounced around? Some of you guys who might be younger, like 10, 12, 15 years old, maybe younger than that. The reason why Dwight Howard bounced around a lot is because during the time, his style of play was such old school basketball, like 90s, early 2000s basketball, that like in the 2010s and 15 is when big men had to be three-pointers, had to do more than just being in the paint. So a lot of teams are like, we like Dwight Howard, he's still a good player, but he doesn't fit in today's era. So that's why you saw him bounce around to so many teams, because they're like, that's why you saw JaVale McGee bounce around a lot of teams. And he was, I think, more old school than Dwight. And he wasn't as good as Dwight, but he was good, but he wasn't at the level Dwight was. And so that's why you saw them in the league so long, because, you can still use them one way or another. Like, if you have about 3 or 4, if you have about, 2 or 3 or 4 3-point shooters, that's all right. You put Dwight in the middle, JaVale McGee in the middle, boom, they'll just rebound. You don't need another shooter. So, it depends on the play style of the team. But, Dwight Howard just bounced around a lot of teams. He was still a good contributor. not only on the field, on the field, talking about football lately because of the free agency, but on the court, but also off the court. Sounded like he really got along with a lot of people. I know sometimes, there's some bad, word of mouth from a lot of people. That's how it is nowadays with the media and people in general who are higher up. They talk bad about players, but it sounded like overall he was a good player overall as a human being, but also a good player when he played basketball. Now, I'm going to say this. I honestly, truly think that people blackballed him. Also, Melo. Because, come on. Two of these players, definitely Hall of Famer. One's really Hall of Famer. One's going to be a Hall of Famer, Melo. And people got to do that. Knowing the fact that I get it, people are not perfect. But Dwight Howard, you saw what I just told you? His stats and everything, insane. I get it. He might have a little bit of, when he's younger, might be a little bit hot-headed or something like that, but come on. Not everyone's perfect. But I truly think that he got blackballed. Because he definitely could have been on teams a little bit longer. And I think he definitely could have been in the league until he wanted to actually want to retire. And you can tell from his social media page. He even said, I still would have played a little bit longer if I had a chance. Not like that, but like from his word, you can line that up with what I'm saying. He could have still played until he was like, I'm done. But nobody was giving him a chance. So he's like, hey, I'll just hang it up, Still in good shape. He does some YouTube video. It's amazing. It's amazing how good of a shape he is at 40 years old. I would think he was, like I said, in his 30s. But, like they say, black don't crack. But, as a fan, man, I'm really happy that I saw him growing up. He was one of the first players I idolized as it got me into playing basketball. You would think I got into playing basketball if I watched, like, the Knicks and Nets. I mean, I did, my first basketball game was the New Jersey Nets with Jason Kidd and Vince Carter. And then I saw AI versus them. But my first drawn into was watching Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, I was like, oh, this guy's nasty. The blocks, the ball going to the stand. Give me chills thinking about this. It's just, his energy was something. Like, he was that guy. I've always idolized. Like I said, I had the 2 sleeves, both sides. It was annoying, though. I don't know how I did it. It was okay. I had to use one sleeve sometimes. I couldn't really shoot. That's why free throw percentage wasn't the best when he shot with 2 sleeves. But yeah, I had really good memories of watching him in the NBA Finals, which he won the finals, but at least he won it later on in his career with the Lakers. But he was such an amazing player, man. Growing up in his prime, I'm really grateful for watching him during his prime. I cannot compare any other player nowadays that can be at his level of his type of style. But I would say the Joker is much better than Dwight, but not as the athletic part. The athletic part, Dwight was a whole beast. But I've also heard this too before we wrap it up, is that his personality is quite unique. He's very, very unique. I feel like people don't realize that he's a very, very, I would say, humble, positive person. But if you get into his bad side, I think he will tend to flip the switch. I never met him, but I've heard from fans that met him. I didn't talk to no players or coaches because it just happened today. But I talked to fans who actually met him, who had pictures with them, and they interacted with him, and they were saying he was very, very respectful. Because a lot of times when you meet players, they tend to have an attitude like Scottie Pippen or MJ. But he was very respectful. He was like it was very like heartwarming. It wasn't like a fake love. Like you could tell he was really, really like happy to like interact with the fans. And one guy talked to him too, and it was like, hey man, like I want to say, growing up, you really like, you really made my day. I'll come home, watch you play basketball on TV, and just by like how you bring the energy and all, and how your personality was in Orlando, and even after, it would just made my, it would just really help me throughout my day. I know this is, he said, I know we never really met each other at all. I don't know you personally, but just by your presence of what you did on the court, it really, you know, got me through my day. And he was very touched by that. He was like, bro, I really appreciate you saying that. I've always wanted to help people. And he was like, he told me a little bit more, but I'm not going to go more detail, but he was like very sincere of, like, he loved the fact that, you know, the fan was telling him his personal side, and then Dwight was being personal back. You can tell that he truly cares, and people don't see that in a lot of these players nowadays. But yeah, guys, that's it for Dwight Howard. I know it's a little bit longer video than usual, but all I gotta say is that if Dwight ever sees this video, I'm gonna say this is that you know, you're one of my favorite players growing up, the favorite player growing up. I try and analyze the game, even though I was not 7 foot, 6'10". I was a 6'2", 6'1" scrawny guy, but I was the tallest one on my basketball team. And I'm very grateful for watching you growing up. You really also helped me throughout certain times in my life that, you know, when I turned on the basketball game, you were playing, and you got me really into the game and into you playing that, you know, all the bad stuff that day went out the door. And yeah, I still have your number 12 jersey, but this, I think it's number 12 jersey from the LA Lakers. I'm still trying to get your Orlando Magic jersey, which I'm definitely going to order that soon. But I want to thank you so much for the memories, and I hope you have a awesome retirement, and I'm definitely looking forward for you for your next chapter in life. And yeah, guys, I'll see you guys next video.